What if the fastest way to lose power is to prove that you deserve it? Imagine you walk into a room with your boss, your investor, your political leader, or someone far more powerful than you. You have the better idea, you know more, you are more talented, and you decide to show everyone exactly how smart you are. It feels like the right move, but sometimes it is the beginning of your downfall. Because power isn't always about being the smartest person in the room. Sometimes it's about making the most powerful person in the room feel like they still are. This is the uncomfortable logic behind the first 4 laws of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. And whether you agree with Greene or not, these 4 laws reveal something fascinating about human behavior. People don't always reward the person who makes them feel inferior. They often reward the person who makes them feel secure. And once you understand that, office politics, business negotiations, leadership, competition, and even political power start looking very different. But there's a second layer. Because these laws aren't really about becoming a manipulator. They're about understanding what happens when ego, insecurity, ambition, and power collide. And the first law begins with one of the oldest mistakes ambitious people make. Law 1. Never outshine the master. The idea is simple. If someone above you has power over your career, don't make them feel threatened by your brilliance. That doesn't mean becoming incompetent. It means understanding the difference between demonstrating value and creating insecurity. And history gives us a fascinating example. In 1610, Galileo Galilei made an extraordinary discovery. Using his telescope, he observed 4 moons orbiting Jupiter. This was enormously important scientifically. But Galileo understood something else. Science alone wasn't enough. He needed powerful patronage. So when he published The Starry Messenger, he dedicated the discovery to Cosimo II de' Medici and named the moons the Medicean stars. The Medici connection helped Galileo secure patronage, and Cosimo later appointed him court mathematician and philosopher. Think about what Galileo had actually discovered. He had found evidence that changed humanity's understanding of the universe. Yet instead of presenting himself as the lone genius standing above everyone else, he connected his achievement to the status of the powerful family he wanted on his side. That is the deeper lesson. Talent gets attention, but social intelligence determines how that talent is received. You see the same principle inside companies. Imagine a junior employee discovers a major flaw in a strategy created by the CEO. There are 2 ways to present it. One is, your strategy is wrong. I've found a better approach. The other is, I think there's an opportunity to strengthen the strategy. I ran some numbers that might help us improve it. Same information, completely different psychological effect. The first challenges status. The second preserves status while still delivering value. And this is where ambition gets complicated. Because if you're too invisible, nobody notices you. If you're too aggressive, someone above you may start seeing you as a threat. So the real skill isn't hiding your intelligence. It's making your intelligence useful without making someone powerful feel smaller. But here's where the law gets uncomfortable. What happens when the person above you isn't your boss, but your competitor? That's where Law 2 begins. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. At first, this sounds almost cynical. Why would an enemy ever be more useful than a friend? Because friendship and incentives are not the same thing. A friend may genuinely like you, but that doesn't automatically mean they are the best person to work with. Friends can become competitors. They can become resentful. They may assume your success should somehow include them. And sometimes, because the relationship feels safe, they become less careful about boundaries. An enemy, however, has something very different to prove. An enemy who joins your side may have a powerful incentive to demonstrate loyalty. One of the most famous examples comes from American history. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln defeated several powerful rivals for the Republican presidential nomination: William H. Seward, Salmon P. Chase, Edward Bates. These weren't minor competitors. They were prominent political figures. And after Lincoln won the presidency, he did something that seems almost irrational. He invited several of those former rivals into his cabinet. Seward became Secretary of State. Chase became Secretary of the Treasury. Bates became Attorney General. Lincoln effectively surrounded himself with men who had once wanted his job. Why? Because Lincoln wasn't trying to build a room full of people who simply agreed with him. He needed ability. He needed political factions represented, and he needed people capable of challenging decisions during one of America's greatest crises. The result became known as Lincoln's team of rivals. The lesson isn't that you should distrust every friend. It's more useful than that. Don't confuse personal loyalty with professional reliability. In business, the person who politely agrees with every idea isn't necessarily your strongest ally. Sometimes the person who says, "I think this is a terrible idea and here's why," is far more valuable, because they are giving you information instead of validation. And that leads to an important distinction. You don't necessarily need enemies. You need independent incentives and independent thinking. A company where everyone is afraid to disagree with the CEO can become dangerously comfortable. A political leader surrounded entirely by loyalists can stop hearing reality. And an entrepreneur who only listens to friends may mistake encouragement for evidence. But if Law 2 teaches you to think carefully about who is around you, Law 3 asks something even more dangerous. What do those people actually know about what you're planning? Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Imagine you're negotiating to buy a piece of land. The seller knows you're planning to build a massive commercial development on it. What happens? The price changes. Suddenly, everyone understands the value. This is exactly why secrecy can matter in business. One of the most famous examples involves Walt Disney's plans for Florida. In the 1960s, Disney wanted to build what would eventually become Walt Disney World. But there was a problem. If landowners discovered that Disney was behind the purchases, they could speculate on the land's future value. So Disney's organization used multiple companies during the acquisition process, helping keep the ultimate purpose and buyer's identity from becoming obvious while land was assembled. Think about how powerful that is. Disney wasn't simply negotiating over land, they were negotiating over information. The less the sellers knew about the final objective, the less prepared they were to price the land based on that objective. And that's the real principle behind Law 3. Not lie to everyone, but don't reveal information before you need to. In a business negotiation, revealing your maximum budget too early can weaken you. In a job interview, revealing that you're desperate can weaken your negotiating position. In a startup competition, announcing your entire strategy before execution can give competitors time to respond. In politics, revealing every planned move gives opponents time to organize against it. But there's a limit. Secrecy becomes destructive when it turns into deception that destroys trust. The smarter interpretation is strategic information control. Tell people what they need to know, not necessarily everything you know. Because sometimes the most valuable information in a negotiation isn't what you say. It's what you choose not to reveal yet. And that brings us to the fourth law. Because even if you know when to speak, there's another problem. How much should you say?